CBC TV 8 in beautiful Barbados.
The CBC Headline News, brought to you by Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network.
Radical changes in the offing for education. The ruling DLP begins its 62nd anniversary celebrations. And coming up in sports, Progressive puts an end to Deacon's perfect record.
The CBC Headline News, brought to you by Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Shane Jones with the Thursday, October 27th edition of the CBC Evening News. In our top story, radical changes are coming for the educational system in Barbados and the wider Caribbean. It's part of a strategy to develop the region in a manner that allows its citizens to fulfill their potential. Kent Jerson has that story.
Education stakeholders gathered to give their input on how the system needs to be revamped to prepare citizens for the future. It's officially called a consultation on the Regional Education and Human Resource Development Strategy. This CARICOM initiative is being developed by a commission, which is compiling the views of interested parties. Among the commissioners is Professor Alan Cobley, who says the goal is simple.
Unlocking Caribbean human potential. Very simple.
Achieving that, however, is more complex. Professor Cobley says it involves trying to overcome the many challenges plaguing the system, doing so in a holistic manner, and tackling the problems at source. He used the generally poor performances in maths as an example, saying it starts in primary schools.
So a problem that begins at primary has a knock-on effect in secondary, has a knock-on effect in tertiary, and the net result is that our region does not have the range of skills that we need in science and technology.
Education specialist with the Caribbean Development Bank, Dr. Martin Baptiste, adds that as it relates to educators, it's not so much about them being competent, rather, it's about them being more effective.
Across the region, we have more highly trained teachers, more highly trained principals, and we need to find how can we encourage and enable teachers and principals so that they begin to apply the competence in ways that bring about results in the end. Because ultimately, of course, what determines whether we are successful is not that the period is finished or the year has ended, but that the students have learned.
Stressing that the system needs to be more inclusive, education specialist Dr. Nancy George laments that too many young people are being left by the wayside. She believes placing a higher value on vocational skills should be part of the solution, and educators need to find creative ways to unleash the talents of young people so inclined. To emphasize the point, she refers to a strategy used by the principal of a primary school in Jamaica, which was not known for producing the most academically gifted students.
But the principal decided that he was going to try something new with his students, so he set up a coding club. And he has like 10 or 12 students who come because they wanted to learn how to code. And 2 of those students have sold games to Apple. Okay, and these kids are 11 years old. Now, I tell you that that possibility exists across the Caribbean.
This consultation in Barbados is being replicated in other Caribbean countries. It's an initiative of CARICOM, funded by the CDB. Kent Jerson, CBC News.
The Democratic Labour Party has begun its preparations to celebrate 62 years as an organization, as well as the country's 50th year of independence. Work has already started at its George Street headquarters to reflect the celebratory mood of the country and party. The 62nd year is being dedicated to the youth, and the theme of the celebrations is Journey to 50, from colony to nationhood. During a media briefing, DLP General Secretary George Pilgrim said over the month of November, the party will host 10 events, inclusive of a lecture, fair, photo exhibition, and gospel concert, to name a few. One of the highlights is the Independence Walk, which was officially opened by Sir Philip Graves and students of St. Cyprian's Boys.
The Independence Walk is a compendium of 50 great contributions of this party to the efforts of nation building over the period. These will be illustrated in our national colors, each with an achievement of the party printed into 50 squares. As part of the Independence Walk, we'll have a top 50 competition. As part of the experience of coming to visit the exhibition, we will award at the end of November one student of school age $500 if he or she can recite the 50 achievements or come close to reciting those 50 achievements as identified in the Independence Walk.
Well, there will also be a church service, political meeting, steel pan concert, and a special queue in the community the Thursday before Independence Day.
Families First, which is very dear and close to the party. It was a program founded by our last leader, the Honorable David Thompson. We'll be hosting an Independence queue here at George Street Auditorium. It is really an occasion for an Independence reunion of all those who are visiting these shores to come and join in the celebration of Celebrate 50.
Well, the Democratic Labour Party is also having a special meeting this weekend. It involves all the branches of the southern constituencies. It's being held at Dighton Griffith School. Neil Rowe is the new Barbados Labour Party candidate for the constituency of St. Michael Northwest. Mr. Rowe won the contest in emphatic fashion, dismissing competitor Marsha Hines Lane by 67 votes, winning 116 to 46. 4 candidates were initially contesting the nomination, but former BLP Member of Parliament Mark Williams and Michael Harris withdrew their nominations. Mr. Rowe says he has been serving the party for quite some time.
I have worked assiduously with the BLP party, having served as a loyal foot soldier for candidates in 3 elections. I was afforded the opportunity to serve as a member of the management team for one of the candidates. These experiences have helped to prepare me for my own candidacy.
Opposition leader Mia Motley says the full team is coming together perfectly.
The Barbados Labour Party has an impressive team to offer the people of Barbados. It is a team that stretches across every strata of this society. It is a team that offers different perspectives. It is a team that literally is the right combination for the times.
The World Bank has credited Barbados for making it easier to start a business. However, in the latest Doing Business report, the country is ranked 117th out of 190, dropping 2 spots from 115th. The Doing Business 2017 report is themed Equal Opportunity for All. Improvements were also seen as it relates to registering a company, protection of minority investors, and the paying of taxes. The report, however, cites several areas which need improvements, such as securing credit, dealing with construction permits, and getting electricity. Puerto Rico is the top Caribbean island on the list at position 55. Jamaica is the top-ranked CARICOM state at number 67. In the wake of several videos being circulated with school children involved in sexual acts, Minister of Education Ronald Jones is encouraging students to focus on their studies.
I want to appeal to all of you young people. Young men, respect young women. Young women, respect yourself as you respect young men. There will come a time in your life's journey when you can take a decision based upon your understanding and your maturation. And you can do that as a result of experience. But it doesn't have to be personal experience. It could be the experience gained through the literature.
His comments came at the launch of the Team Action International Inc. Speech Festival at the Southern Palms Beach Hotel. There, he also reiterated his calls for students to clearly and confidently express their ideas instead of being silent in the classroom.
Past my enthusiasm. It is clearly written on your face, but you don't speak. You're praying that somebody else speaks. So everybody prays that somebody else speaks, so nobody speaks. So the teacher then is forced to say, Janet or Harold, can you give me an answer?
The search continues for wanted man Marlon Smith, who escaped police lawful custody last month. He made his escape whilst in the area of Codrington St. Michael, where he was assisting with investigations. The 37-year-old Smith, alias Brando's last known address, was Story Gap, Codrington Hill, St. Michael. He is wanted in connection with serious criminal matters and is considered to be armed and dangerous. He should not be approached by the public. Police have advised him that he can present himself accompanied by an attorney at law of his choice or a family member. The public is again reminded that it is a serious offense to harbor or assist wanted persons, and any person caught committing this offense can be prosecuted. Anyone who may know the whereabouts of Marlon Anthony Smith is asked to contact the police at emergency telephone number 211, the nearest police station, or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-TIPS. The bank accounts of the former Clico executive Leroy Paris should not have been frozen. That's the argument Queen's Counsel Hal Gollop put before the Court of Appeal earlier today. He says as a result of the freezing order passed on January 27th last year, his client cannot access any funds from the Bank of Nova Scotia. Since the collapse of Clico, High Court Justice William Chandler ordered Mr. Paris' accounts to be frozen until the funds lost could be redeemed.
Defendants can show that they have assets in excess of what they're claiming is theirs. And also the fact that they have almost twice as much holding for him as they're claiming he has for them, you can set it off. And that is, in our view, a compelling reason why the injunction should be discharged.
Mr. Gollop says the accounts were frozen in an effort to reduce the risk of dissipation. That's a squandering of money. He adds that there is a clear paper trail of how Mr. Paris has paid professionals.
We have also argued that there is no real risk of dissipation of assets, and that is a crucial factor on which a Moreva injunction is granted or discharged. Whether there is a risk of dissipation of the assets of the defendant that would make him judgment proof if the plaintiff were to succeed. And that has been the thrust of our arguments.
Okay, and this just in, there is no policy to import water for use by the Barbadian public. This from Chairman of the Barbados Water Authority as he responded to reports that Barbados is importing water from Suriname.
Dr. Atlee Brathwaite has confirmed that the water is en route to Barbados from Suriname, but he says it's all part of an experiment. He says there's no commitment on the part of the BWA to import water on an ongoing basis, and this is purely an experiment to see how it will work if it has to be done in the future. The chairman says with the ongoing drought conditions forecast to get worse due to climate change, the BWA has, like some other Caribbean countries, considered importing water as one of the measures it could use. CBC understands discussions on the process have been in train since 2014. Now, Dr. Brathwaite says the short and medium-term measures put in place already by the authority have been bearing fruit. These include the packaged desalination plants, new boreholes like the one in St. George, and the water augmentation project in St. Philip, all of which have been successful in increasing the amount of water produced, bringing relief for residents of St. Joseph and other areas hard hit by outages. Sources tell CBC that once the water arrives, it will be rigorously tested to see if it meets the authority's standards. If it does, it will be used in agriculture, and if it does not, it will be disposed of. The source stressed, however, that at no time will this shipment of water be put into the system for human consumption. Lisa Broom, CBC News.
Thanks, Lisa. Okay, we'll take a short break here and come back with more news.
Don't let your data experience slow you down. Step up to Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network, more than twice as fast as the slow network. Get more with Digicel. Digicel, the fastest 4G network in Barbados. Dial *153 to sign up to Digicel today.
Get that extra cash you need just when you need it. Call or visit Axel Finance today to get the money you need. Accelerate your life and your business with Axel Finance.
This season on CBC TV, The People's Business, Sundays at 8:05 p.m. Made possible by our partners, Solar Dynamics, the most efficient solar hot water system.
A senior prison officer believes the biggest change in Barbados' penal system has been a move away from the so-called lock and key mentality. That's a contention of Chief Officer at Her Majesty Prison Dodds, Mark Corbin. Contributing to a panel discussion to mark Crime Awareness Month, he says the change was due, in part, to prison officers becoming better qualified.
We have not reached the high ground as yet, but we are moving away from that mentality. This is exemplified by the fact that prison officers over the past 10 to 15 years have sought to improve themselves academically, especially in the social sciences, psychology, social work, and more recently, criminal justice and criminology.
Mr. Corbin added that prison officers are more than custodians, as they too play a part in the rehabilitation of offenders. He noted that some former inmates genuinely make the effort to turn around their lives, and that he would like to see more job opportunities made available to them.
Some guys come out, they really try, they get a job, 6 months in the job, gentleman comes in and says, you employ Jack Spratt, he went to prison, Jack's job gone. This is reality. I only today heard of a situation where a guy even had to change his name in an effort to keep his job and still lose it.
7 people are now counting their losses after a fire of unknown origin extensively damaged their Sinclair Road, Haggett Hall, St. Michael home last night. The blaze occurred about 10 minutes to 7. The home, owned by Stephen Blanchard of Cane Garden, was occupied by Carl Hines and others. UK TV star and garden designer Katie Rushworth is hoping to hold more gardening retreats in Barbados in the future. Ms. Rushworth completed an inaugural week-long garden retreat. Last evening, however, the TV star also hosted a book signing and cocktail reception at Sugarcane Club, where she spoke about the objectives of the retreat.
We wanted to teach people coming on a holiday here how they could design a garden a little bit like where they went on a holiday. So this week we've been teaching people how to grow exotic gardens full of lush green foliage and bright flowers. So hopefully when they get home, they can do that and they'll feel like they're just a little bit of Barbados in their own back garden.
Well, still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region. But before we get there, here's a tip from Coverley Medical Center.
Obesity greatly increases the risk of breast cancer after menopause. Consider exercising 5 times per week for at least 30 minutes each day. So, have you booked your next annual checkup?
Court's Pot of Gold is back with $250,000 to be won every day. Yes, every day. We will give away 50 $100 bills as we celebrate the nation's 50th anniversary. It's huge. One $5,000 winner for 50 days. Spend $999.99 and over between September 26th and November 23rd, 2016 for your chance to win. Offer valid on both cash and credit purchases. Shop now and pay nothing until 2017. Let's go. The season is here. Courts, bringing value home.
Generations for family, commitment to you, for honesty, respect for one another in our community. Trident Insurance, this gem is home for we. We're Trident Insurance, we
My name is James Paul. I am the Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agricultural Society. Sandals has allowed the local farmers to be able to earn incomes, of course, to feed their families on a more consistent basis. That in itself benefits the community in general.
Sandals Resorts International supports regional farmers and fishers by purchasing millions of dollars worth of fruits, vegetables, and seafood every year. This stimulates the economies of the islands and ultimately contributes to the economic growth of the region.
My name is Derek Walker, and I'm a senior site foreman with Shelbury Construction Incorporated. Sandals has brought lots of jobs, lots of opportunities for tradesmen, for special artisans. It has brought jobs in every sector of the islands.
Over the last 6 years, Sandals Resorts International has spent approximately $200 million building, upgrading, and renovating its resorts. This boosts the regional construction industry, increases airlift, creates jobs, and strengthens regional economies.
American oil giant ExxonMobil has discovered more oil offshore Guyana as it continues its exploration. According to ExxonMobil's partner, Hess Corporation, the Liza 3 well was drilled to a depth of 18,100 feet in 6,000 feet of water on a location about 2.7 miles from the Liza 1 discovery. The Liza 3 well is about 193 kilometers offshore Guyana. Chief Operating Officer Greg Hill declined to give a resource estimate for the amount of gas in the find, but said the reservoir has a very healthy gas-to-oil ratio that should aid in oil production. Raise Your Voice St. Lucia, a group advocating on behalf of victims of abuse, has called on the government to explain why a pregnant juvenile was incarcerated at a correctional facility from May this year. The girl, who is 16 years, was pregnant when she entered the facility. She gave birth recently to a baby girl, her second child at the Victoria Hospital. Officials say the mother and child have been removed from the general female prison population and placed in a special unit. Raise Your Voice also wants to know whether there has been an investigation into the individual who has twice impregnated a juvenile under the age of 16, who happens to be a ward of the state. In Jamaica, a 14-year-old student has died after he was stabbed on a bus near his school by a man attempting to steal his cell phone. The teen, who reportedly resisted the man, was stabbed in the hand and chest. He was then thrown from the bus, breaking his arm in the fall. Now, it's not clear what happened to the perpetrator. The driver of the bus took the student to the University of the West Indies Hospital, where he died. The Prime Minister of St. Martin has called for joint development of geothermal energy in the Caribbean, as many states look for ways to reduce their dependence on fossil fuels. William Marlin says while several of the islands in the Caribbean have geothermal energy potential, it wouldn't make sense for all of them to get into production. Geothermal energy potential has already been confirmed in several islands, including Nevis and Dominica. While ahead in sports, the first defeat for the season for Deacons men in Division 1 volleyball. But first, a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you want it to be.
A mammogram is an X-ray of the breasts that is used to detect and evaluate breast changes. This tip is brought to you by the Breast Screening Program of the Barbados Cancer Society.
Play Super Lotto today. Enjoy a weekend for two at the luxurious Waves Resort, Libble. Compliments sun tours. Enjoy romantic dinners at the beautiful Thais restaurant and at fabulous tapas. See press for details.
It's a vision whose time has come. This November 29th, Digicel, Barbados is Music presents the most explosive array of titans to share Barbadian fame. Crossfire, Coalition, and Square One will descend upon Kensington Oval for the independent show that will be talked about for the next 50 years. Get your $80 tickets at all advertised box offices. New Look Boutique, Digicel Store, the Costume